Hi, welcome to the Code Talks 2018. We are very, very happy that you are here. For the 5th time in a row, we are completely sold out. That makes us very proud, but obviously keeps the pressure high. I think we got a waiting list of a couple of hundred people. You guys obviously did it right and registering early. And obviously we know your time is very valuable. We hope we can fulfill your expectations to the next 2 days. So in this slot, I'm going to briefly tell you a bit about the background of our conference. Afterwards, Martin, the head of program, will take over, and then the curators will present their theme tracks. So let's start. I'm trying to keep it short. My name is Tarek Müller. I'm one of the co-founders of this conference, together with Sebastian, who's also here. He will be on the stage right after this welcome speech. We are also the co-founders of About You, which is the company hosting this beautiful conference. Still, the conference is completely independent, but it's organized by employees of About You, who are paid from About You as well. So the conference is a non-profit organization, basically, and we want to keep it like that to stay independent. We founded the conference 8 years ago, actually. And now it's the largest web developer conference in Germany. We have 1,600 participants here. As said, we are completely sold out. I think we could even have like 3,000 participants, I guess, here. But the maximum capacity is reached, so we can't grow anymore. But we want to stick to this location here because we feel that the cinema is actually a very nice location for a conference. We founded the conference as a counterpart of boring conferences because 8 years ago at least we felt that most conferences in the development space were organized by professional conference organizers, actually not from the industry, doing it for profit, and we felt that a conference like that should maximize the value creation and not maximize profits. So we wanted to organize a community format led by industry experts for experts. We got a conference website, you know that. There you can customize your personal timetable. We kindly ask you to do a speaker evaluation after the talks to get feedback, both for us as conference organizers, but also mostly for the speakers themselves. And we hope we can, or we hope we could create a relaxing atmosphere here in the movie theater. We have 8 stages here in the cinema. Each of that stage, there will be a talk every hour. So in total, we got 112 talks. We got 15 theme tracks. So we hope that at every hour, you will find something which is of relevance for you. We got a bar area outside. I guess you saw that already. Everything is for free. So we got all-you-can-eat popcorn and nachos. Go for it, yeah. And obviously today we got the legendary after-conference party at the Hühnerposten. There will be shuttles after the conference ends. They will drive you to the conference party. There will also be shuttles at the conference party taking you back to your hotel. I think there's a maximum of, I don't know, 10 kilometers or something. Since we got limited capacity of shuttles for the conference party, we kindly ask you to group together if possible, because I think it's 8 seats shuttles from the conference party back to your hotel or wherever you live. So please group together and take those shuttles. There will be a gaming area there as well. We always try to combine knowledge, creation, and fun, and in a relaxing atmosphere. And also, in the former subtitle of this conference was the Klassentreffen of the developer scene. So we also hope that you can network. It's a small scene actually. So we hope that you will find a lot of ex-colleagues maybe or current colleagues. And also have fun and network and gain knowledge and exchange. This conference was founded in 2010 as a community format, as said, and some points were very important to us and are still very important to us. We tried to highlight the most important things. If you are interested in that, feel free to go on our website. There we got a couple of background informations and a code of conduct. Please read through that, and we really mean what's in there. What was always important for us is to have various topics from the web development scene and technology scene in total. That's why we are working together with curators. That's not just a couple of people creating the program, but hopefully a lot of aspects will be covered in the program. We always have a call for papers. We are very happy that this really took off in the last years. We got, I don't know how many, but really a couple of hundred talks were sent to us from people wanting to present their topic and wanting to share their knowledge, and that is really the spirit of that conference. So we are very happy about that. And that being said, we want to motivate you to use that call for paper in the next year. So if you have a topic you want to share with the community, please feel free to send us your topic, and curators will decide whether you get in the program or not. If you get in the program, you get a couple of free tickets, and everything is taken care of, etc. So it's really cool, and it's also a great chance to share knowledge. The curators will be on the stage after this welcome, or within this welcome speech in like 20 minutes or so, presenting their theme track. We also, and this is mostly Martin's job, we also proactively contact interesting companies, because some companies are actually doing very, very interesting stuff, but for some reason are not sending us papers or call for papers. So if we feel there's a company worldwide doing interesting stuff, we proactively contact them and try to get them on stage here. And that's also the reason why you will find a lot of talks here from companies who are actually regularly not on stage on conferences. That also makes us obviously very proud, especially if like international speakers come to our conference. That's really cool. Obviously, fun and respect is very important for us. Please keep that in mind, especially the respect part. We also try to do our best in youth development, so we provide a lot of free tickets to students and trainees. Those tickets are actually sponsored by our beautiful sponsors. Going to get to that later. Because we feel, I'm pretty sure you will experience that the same. We don't have enough developers in Germany, or actually worldwide, and we want to create curiosity. We want to give people who are young and who are not yet working in the industry a kind of a glance of what the industry is like, and yeah, make them curious on development. So this is a very, very important part for us. We give out a lot of free tickets. We give a lot of tickets with great discounts to people who are kind of not students anymore, so they don't get a free ticket anymore, but maybe have just recently started working, and for whatever reason the company is not paying for the ticket, for example. Then we always try to give it for free, or to give great discounts. So that is why the sponsors are so important for us. We couldn't do that without the sponsors. As I said, it's a non-profit conference, or actually About You is paying, is paying a great amount to cover the costs, basically, because we always have a bit more costs than revenues. But without the speakers, we couldn't do a lot of the stuff which is on those slides. So big thanks to that. And we also want to promote diversity. Looking in that audience, it's every year a shame, I have to say, how unsuccessful we are in that. I have to say, looking in the program again, I have to say it's a shameful. It's a very kind of shameful view how we are lacking on women, for example, and on a lot of other underrepresentative groups. So we always try to do our best. If you have any ideas on how to change that, please feel free to contact us as organization team, or Martin as head of program. This is a very important topic for us, and a topic where we actually failed for the last 8 years, I have to say. We still try to make the best out of that, and put a lot of effort in that. But I hope that at any point of time, maybe in 10 years, I'm looking in the audience and have a better feeling about the diversity part. And we also grant discounts and free tickets to a lot of initiatives working on that. And yeah, hopefully this will improve in the future. Many thanks to our org team. We got 3 people mainly working on that conference. So Martin is one of those people. He will be on stage, but it's also Heike and Regina. I think they are not here because they have to fix the internet outside. But maybe, maybe a big round of applause for the org team, even though Heike and Regina aren't here. Some people, and actually I'm one of those people 8 years ago, underestimate how much effort it is to organize such a conference. So we have 3 people really full-time working on that conference, and then within the period of 2 weeks before the conference and on the 2 days of the conference, there are approximately 30 people working on on that conference. Most of them are working at About You and have a regular job in accounting or marketing or whatever. It's always a cool team building event as well for our company, but still it's a great effort. If you have any questions, questions, feel free to contact the org team. You can see the org team from the white T-shirts. So everybody who's wearing the white T-shirt with a crew on the back, feel free to approach those people if you have any questions or any feedback. And yeah, great. As said, this conference couldn't live without sponsors. It's always a bit of a trade-off when it comes to sponsors. I have to say we are trying to curate also our sponsors. We have at least like 3 times more demand on people or companies who want to sponsor this conference. But we decided to not take every sponsor who is approaching us, especially when it comes to recruiting companies or headhunting companies. So it's a bit of a trade-off. We always try to get sponsors who are contributing to the community as well, who understand what their money goes in when it comes to diversity or youth development. We do not want to just take money from sponsors. It's not kind of the spirit of the conference. So I'm very proud that we have so many sponsors, and I'm very proud that those sponsors are actually very well selected sponsors who actually also contribute to the community. We always try to make a bit of a due diligence on our conference sponsors as well, and not take sponsors where we feel they are not doing cool things. So a big round of applause for those sponsors. And what also makes us proud is that we have a lot of sponsors who are sponsoring this conference and contributing to this conference for actually the last years, like sponsors like Freiheit.com. Stefan will be on stage after the speech as well, and Otto and a lot of other sponsors which are named here are actually supporting this conference throughout the last years. And they are, as said, they're not just giving money, but also, trying to give input in the conference, trying to make the best out of this conference. That is really cool. We hope we can keep that. We also have a conf game for those who are participating. Actually, who of you, for whom of you is it the first time at that conference here? Wow, that's a lot. Cool. So who were here more than 3 times? Ah, cool. So we got a conf game. This will be explained by Martin. Maybe can you explain it later? Yeah, Martin will explain it later. But please visit our sponsors, get in contact with them, answer the questions. I'm going to explain briefly now. Answer the questions at the sponsor stands. You have a chip in your badge. You can level up with each visit and answering the questions, and then you have the chance to win really cool prizes. Some of the prizes are named here, and yeah, I think it's a very cool way of getting in contact with our sponsors, giving them something back for what they contribute to the conference. So we hope you're taking the chance to get in contact with them. Now the introduction to the theme tracks and curators. That time I would like to hand over to Martin, and he will give you a brief introduction, and afterwards we will listen to the curators what their thoughts were behind the themes. Thank you.
Hey everyone, yeah, I'm Martin. Just a short intro on myself. I've been a software developer for 2.5 years now at About You, and just recently I've taken over the job of talking at conferences and also doing the tech event management. So I'm supporting the event management team and giving them an insight from a developer's perspective. 2 things. So the ratings will be enabled as soon as the first 15 minutes of the talk are over. So as soon as that happens, you can rate the talks. There will be stars and comments. Please be fair in the comments. No one else except for the speaker will see them and for the curators. So there is no point in, I don't know, yeah, saying something mean. Okay, so just a short thought on why I like doing the program for this conference, because I think conferences for developers are really great because it's basically the only place where you as a developer can say, oh yeah, I'm doing stuff in the IT, and you not get asked to repair someone's computer. And now that actually kind of changed since I have my new title now. Now everyone always leaves as soon as I say I'm a tech evangelist, because then they leave because they think I'm trying to convert them to some religion or something. Yeah, so I think there's like 1,600 people here today, and what I think is really amazing is that even though, as Tarek said, we are a community of people that are actually lacking people, like we need more people in our community, but we are already 820,000 software developers in Germany, with 65% of them working in web development. Hamburg is actually in sixth place with around 50,000 developers, like shortly underneath that. But I really think that we pushed this today over the 50,000, so congrats to us. Yeah, just one thing that I want to point out is that most people, if they hear being a software developer, they think it's really math heavy, and you have to think a lot of, think logically a lot, and I mean, that's a big part of what we are doing. But what's also really important is that computers are actually not solving problems for us, but we have to solve the problem, and that's a really creative task, and it's really challenging. And yeah, I just want to point out to everyone that computers do not solve problems, but they execute solutions that we give them. And yeah, as I said, I think that's really challenging, and that gets even more challenging as our industry is developing really rapidly, and we have to learn new things as developers basically every 6 months. And yeah, that's why a conference like this is so great, because you can learn from the experiences of other people, and people are able to share their experiences, what they had, the problems they had while using new frameworks, new programming languages, and other technologies, if that's in the infrastructure or DevOps sector or other sectors in our community. Yeah. So before I start with the tracks, I just want to give a great thanks to Tarek and Betts for starting this event 8 years ago, because I think it's really great. I've been here 2 times already, and I always enjoy this. I've been to a few other conferences. I think this is definitely the coolest. So thanks for that. I want to thank my curators for helping me put together the program we have here today. And especially, I want to thank the speakers that are here and that make this whole event possible, because I kind of think that speaking publicly is a lot like skiing, because if you get on top of a slope, you're standing up there on top of a black slope, you're like, oh shit, it looked really way easier from the bottom. So I want to give a big thanks to all the speakers, because even if you get used to it, it's still always a challenge to get up on the stage and talk in front of a lot of people. Okay, so the program. We have a few tracks that we have had in the last few years as well. So we have the architecture track and the IT management track, infrastructure and DevOps, IoT, security, mobile, and the keynote track, which have all been there before, so I'm not going to tell a lot about them. And I think the curators will talk about them shortly. We also made some changes to the tracks. First, we split up big data and machine learning into big data and AI. That is because I think both of them are really important topics in our community. And yeah, I think they deserved a track each on their own. So then we have, before we had an UI front-end track, and we also split that up now to focus more on the development side in the front-end track, and also have a separate UI UX track, because I think that's also really important in part for us. And a lot of developers that I know really profit from that track, I think. And yeah, next we have our backend track. So before that we had programming language specific tracks like Java and PHP. And just shortly, I heard a story where someone told me, oh, you don't have a Java track anymore, I'm not going to come to code.talks. And even though Java is one of the most used backend languages we have here in Hamburg, for example, I still think it speaks a lot to your horizon if you say that you just come to code.talks if there's a Java track. Not to blame it. Okay, so next, before we had a track called New Technology, and we changed that into Buzzing Technology, because it's not necessarily means that a new technology is something that is really extensively used, and we wanted to hit more on technology that is like really hyped at the moment and is used a lot. And then also we have a micro hackathon instead of live coding sessions, because I think you can get a lot more out of 1.5 hours of hackathon or micro hackathon than just sitting there and watching someone and hoping that he makes a mistake, he or she, sorry. And then we have 2 completely new tracks. We have a tech entrepreneur track, which gives us the ability to get a glimpse into the world of tech entrepreneurs. And then we have the VR, AR, and gaming track, which is also really cool because a lot of VR and AR stuff is coming to the web as well. So that's it for me for now. And I think we will start with Stefan and the big data track. Yeah.
Okay, good morning. Cool to be here again. Big stage here. Okay, so I'm curating, or I curated together with Martin the big data track. And of course, whenever you now today think about AI, data science, whatever, the first thing we all have to do is first get data. So we have to build something into our software that we gather data, and then we have to put it somewhere. We have to store it. We have to clean it. We have to work with the data, doing data science with it. And after that, and after you work with your data, then you can do machine learning and AI. So we are mostly now focusing on this track about how to ingest data and also how to do data science on data like that. And we have some interesting talks. So one thing about Python and Luigi, then something about Apache Flink used at InnoGames in gaming. We have visual analysis of social media data with graph technologies, and we also have a nice talk from a professor from the University of Saarland about big data and IoT and all the different aspects of the technologies that come together in that. And we have a talk about big data and IoT, so a panel discussion about if this will create a better future or if this creates infinite surveillance. So this is interesting, and maybe you can participate, and we are curious about your questions. But then also today we have 2 interesting talks about managed technologies, and we have 2 talks where we show some stuff that is done with Google BigQuery. So it's really interesting because it lowers the barrier very much. You don't have to install anything anymore. You can like store petabytes of data and query them on your fingertips. So it's really, really cool technology. And one of my colleagues, Daniel Bartz, will show some stuff how we're doing data-driven development, product development with the Metro team. So one of the sponsors is also one of our customers. And and then we have Christopher from Google. He also did last year's Kubernetes talk about federated Kubernetes. He will show some predictive analytics with BigQuery and give a nice intro about BigQuery SQL language, which is very, very powerful. So actually, 10 years ago, I hoped I would never have to do SQL again. But now I really like it when you do it with BigQuery. It's really great. Okay, so I hope you have a lot of fun and see you later. I also have a keynote talk later. Maybe you'd like to come at 12. So maybe you're interested in becoming an engineering manager someday. Okay, so who's next?
So next up are Judith and Lars. I think Lars is not here because he's in Asia, where he is keeping his hat on the company that he founded there. But Judith will tell us a few things about the IT management track.
Hi. Many greetings from Lars. Lars and I are curating this track since years. And we are focusing always on the questions, what can you take as a result for your daily work? So it's not about blaming IT managers. The track IT management it's about the question, where can I overtake jobs? Where can I overtake responsibility, and where can I change my behavior so that we can manage our stuff? And in this year we have 9 talks, and most of them are about a real teamwork and a good conversation in a team and how to perform in a team very well. So it's about communication, it's about feedback and about roles. And you can see this in the topics. So we have a talk by Nino Loye about continuous feedback. So it's about adding feedback into your delivering system. Sönke will talk about a serverless and especially about the communication between administration and developers while going serverless. Roland Gola will give a talk about how to do well code, to program well, and what does it have to do with your own health. And he assumes that when you're writing bad code that you are going ill. I really believe that. I really believe in the idea of when you're doing shitty things, you're going into a burnout or whatever else. So you have a chance to change your behavior and to stay healthy. I will give a talk about open communications and what open communications means to a real teamwork. So you really need a good communication to perform as a real team. And there's another perspective of being a good team. Sven Peters from Atlassian will show a way how to use a team playbook. So it's not about processes, it's about a good way to, without processes to perform well. So not reading 20 pages of how to perform. It's about a way of learning. And learning is also the topic of Gerhard Wagner, who says that personal Kanban can save lives. It may be the same. There is a connection to the talk of Roland. And at the end, Alexander Jäger will talk about that you are not the problem. The complexity of your problems are the problem. So, and he wants to limit the complexity in your life as a true north to 0. So that's the IT management track. It's about communication, it's about feedback, and it's about real teamwork. I hope that you will learn something from it.
So next up is Jan on the infrastructure and DevOps track. And yeah.
And what? Good morning, everybody. So I can almost see nobody, but that's not a problem. So I have one question for you. Who did fix their parents' computers last Christmas? Please sit down. Okay, everybody. Okay, right. Okay. So we have 2 things in common right now. We all fixed our parents' computers, and we all need to use infrastructure to run our code and applications. On the infrastructure and DevOps track, we will cover everything from cloud to CI, CD, Docker, Kubernetes, blockchain technology, you name it. And we've got 6 talks today, covering almost all of it. And without further ado, just book your free seat in Cinema 2, which is right across the hall, Cinema 2, which is close to the bathrooms and close to the food. Tomorrow, we almost end the conference with a panel about why every single line you code is killing our planet. And if you don't think so, if you have a different opinion on that, come in our talk and change our mind. Together with Max from Buzzing Technologies, we will cover everything like Dogecoin wallets, Facebook at Antarctic data centers, and stuff like that. Thank you very much.
Nice. So next up, Chris and Franzi, but I think Chris will do it for the mobile track.
Okay, well, so hi everybody, my name is Christoph. This is my fourth code talk actually, and also my fourth time doing the curating for the mobile track. And the first time when I did it in 2015 was still like, wait, what are you trying to do on the small screen? Why? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, mobile was still a pretty obscure topic, and this has definitely changed in the recent years. User behavior has definitely shifted. Everybody's using smartphones for everything. And so also as the whole ecosystem has matured a lot, also the tracks are becoming much more specific. So they are much more about tooling and less like how do I even do mobile, more about like, hey, about the specifics, how to do automation and architecture. So we will have one talk about the model view intent pattern in Android. So basically how to handle your user interface in a more efficient way in your architecture. One talk about Flutter. So this is like a really strong upcoming alternative to React Native by Google, written in Dart. Really exciting stuff. And I think Google is pushing for the first 1.0 release in the recent month. So really exciting what's coming up there. And also one talk about Fastlane. Maybe some of you already use it for your iOS apps. Now, I recently also learned that you can also use it for Android, obviously. So this is about Fastlane for Android. It's basically about how to automate the whole continuous delivery to the Play Store, how to handle certificates, signing, and all that stuff that you usually need to take care about manually, and Fastlane does that all for you. And then we have a panel discussion I'm really looking forward to about progressive web apps. So probably everybody has heard about these. They're also being heavily pushed by Google. Apple is still a little bit hesitant. And some people say they will replace normal apps in the next years. There are a lot of opinions about it. So the discussion will be about, do we even need Play Store and App Store in the future? Will progressive web apps replace the whole app ecosystem? And yeah, I think it's a really interesting topic with a lot of different opinions, and I would be really happy to at least, not all of you, but some of you there. Okay, thank you very much.
So next up is the AI track, and Basti is not here. Okay. So then I will try to fill in. I think machine learning makes it possible to build systems that usually a lot of people, so normal program development cannot offer, because there is just a lot of stuff that is in complexity as large that normal software engineering cannot cover it. And the artificial intelligence, and especially machine learning, I think, is giving us the ability to respond to tasks that are so tough that, like, usually we could not be able to recognize the patterns in them and fully understand the problem as humans. But with this new machine learning ideas, we can actually cover those. So There is some a lot of machine learning talks actually. So we have one AI on Microsoft Stack. Then we have a talk about building smarter apps in machine learning, from magic to reality. Also, we have from exploration to production, bringing framework gaps to deep learning models. And also in that field of ML applications, we have an industrial machine learning pipeline with Python and Airflow. There are also 2 general talks on AI. So there is on, I think that's Friday, over Mount Stupid to deep learning, and also my talk on Friday at 17 o'clock about the demystification of artificial intelligence. And then we also have some talks on predictive machine learning. So we have one fraud prognosis with RNNs. And if you don't know what RNNs are, then I advise you to go to my talk or to their talk. And then we have one on natural language understanding meets PHP. I think we have a really cool one that I personally will look at is winning at Pac-Man, how to beat the ghost with deep Q learning. And then we also have a deep dive in augmentation theory. So that's it for the AI track. And next is Micha for UI and UX design.
Hi. Also large audience. Thank you, Martin, that we could be here because it's the first time that UX is represented and UI in a special track. And so we try to put the effort to push new themes and new subjects into Code Talks, because Code Talks is about code, but not that much about designers. So we try to bring as many design topics into it because it relates so much to the whole product experience. Not only the code is important. So there are 4 major topics that we're going to talk about that we put emphasis on for this year's Code Talks. First is accessibility, and I'm very happy that Frontend also covers this with some talks, and we try to put emphasis on how to bring accessibility more into your product development. Then we have new technologies and tools, since design is evolving more and more and more. We have tools like Sketch that is around already for years, but Adobe is trying to push in, then Figma is another tool, and you kind of get lost in how to deal with all the new technologies and tools. Then we also have a very buzzing word that we want to revolve around is design systems. So everybody in the design community is talking about design systems right now, and trying to make the whole design process more streamlined and to make it more effective. And we're going to have Sylvia Müller going to talk about best practices there. And maybe the biggest topic on this track is about design and developer interaction, which is headed by the headline of Design and Code. So maybe the question, should designers code, should coders design, and how can they interact better to build better products? And I'm very excited to have Roy from IXDS on stage, and we're going to have Antoine on stage about how to build directly designs in the browser and how to iterate and prototype better there. And then one other talk that I want to plug here is Martin Oberhäuser's talk about information overflow and how to deal with it from a design perspective and how to design better products there. And maybe the last thing is the panel discussion today at 4 in, I don't know, Cinema 5. We are in several cinemas, so just jump around, get to learn all the cinemas, and have the possibility to go to the toilet as well. Yeah, the panel discussion is basically a design talk. So you feel free to come and ask questions about design, about all the talks that are going to be there. We try to squeeze as much about out of the speakers, and yeah, be invited and join the discussion. Thank you.
So next up is Crystal, and we are short on time. No worries.
Okay, so I'll try to make this really, really quick. My name is Crystal, and I'm the curator for the front-end track. And just to give you a bit of background there, when I started actually working with development many years ago, there was no such thing as a front-end developer. Everybody kind of did everything, and I was kind of a designer and kind of a developer and everything under the same umbrella. And it's really interesting to be able to see that throughout the years, we have like specialized quite a bit, right? So now we have lots of different areas, and it's really, really nice that even on this conference, we now have a track specific for the design aspects of it, and also a track specifically for the front-end aspects of it. And I actually think that the front-end track is really, really complementary to the design track. We are going to have two really interesting talks about accessibility, more focused on the coding aspects of accessibility. And we are also going to have interesting talks about web animation, using the web animation API. I'm also going to talk about advanced interactions and animations with Vue.js. We are also going to have a talk at how the folks at GitLab are using Vue.js. And that's it, to make it quick.
Okay, so next up is Max, and with buzzing technologies, but he's not here. I think he's still on the train. So, yeah, I think as we are short on time, I'm gonna skip that. I'm just gonna. Okay, just a short. I mostly said I said most of the stuff already in the intro, but I think the point is really that if you asked 4 or 5 years ago someone, for example, if someone would use Microsoft products, they would have said, what? And now Visual Studio is really widely used, so I don't know about you, but for us in the office, almost all the coders are using Visual Studio now. TypeScript is amazing, RxJS is amazing. I think it really helps us do better JS, and now even with WebAssembly, C# is maybe coming to the browser. So I think that's something that we can really touch on, and as I said, is something that falls into this new buzzing technologies, but it's not really new. Yeah, I think we have 3 really great talks. For one, at the end of today, we have Gang of 4 patterns in Kotlin. So, I mean, all of us love design patterns, just knowing them by heart and everything. And yeah, in that talk, we will talk about how these design patterns should evolve by now, because they are really old, and how to use them in Kotlin. Then tomorrow at 14 o'clock, we have WebAssembly, a talk on WebAssembly and how to create higher performance web apps with that. And tomorrow at 4, everything that you code is killing planet Earth, as Jan already said. And I think that's a really cool panel, and you should definitely join that. So next up is Philip, security.
Hi, good morning. Oh, interesting. Come on, we are the code.talks, so good morning. Okay, my part is to introduce why the security track is necessary for you and me and all in the audience. And yeah, of course, most of the people in this room are developers. In short, we all create code, we all create a digital world, a digital society, and I think innovation in context of digitalization is not can't be there if we don't think about topics like security. That is my short introduction why the security track is necessary for you. And in short words, we have talks like all your money belongs to us. Well, that escalate quickly. Continuous security at the next level. Something about bug bounty. And yeah, of course, we have very interesting speaker, for example, Billy Ellis, who explained us something about mobile security and exploiting. We have a very good panel discussion with some of good speakers, like Dr. Sven Herbeck from Stiftung Neue Verantwortung. We have, interesting, SecConsult, the Federal Office for Protection the Constitution, in short, Verfassungsschutz and something like that. So if you are interested, just show into the program at code.talks.de or something like that, I hope. And yeah, that was from me, and I wish you a good day. Have fun.
Thanks, Philip. Okay, I think we're almost through. There's like 4 more coming. So don't leave yet. We will make it short. So next up is Chris for the VR and AR track. And yeah.
Oh, moin moin. I'm Chris from VR Nerds, and we are a developer studio and website about virtual reality in Hamburg. And I'm really looking forward to the exciting mixed reality lectures we will be able to experience today and tomorrow at the Code Talks. It will start today with a discussion about the future of virtual reality and augmented reality. And the question is how we will consume media in the future. Oliver Wöhler from HTC Vive will be there, and therefore I expect an exciting discussion and deep insights. You will find the discussion in Kino 8 at 3 o'clock. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we continue with Tunnel AR from Headcraft. The team has made an augmented reality music video for a German rap group called Fanta 4. And Fabian Fricke will give you deep insights into the project in Kino 7. At 5 o'clock, we will continue with mixed reality for web, and this talk will be hosted by Carsten Sandner from MediaMan, and he will talk about virtual reality and mixed reality in the browser, and he will show us the actual possibilities. Then on Friday, Marco Lettig from AVA will approach the topic of mixed reality in the browser in a more practical way. And as far as I know, there will be also an example project for the participants. You will find Marco Lettig on Friday in Kino 5 at 3 o'clock. I hope you are excited about the lectures as I am, and I hope you have fun at the Code Talks. Thank you.
Okay, 2 more people. No, 3, sorry. Still at 3. And we're really close to 10.
Good morning, everyone. I think my first Code Talks was about 4 or 5 years ago. And at that time, there was a lot of talks about legacy systems, how to reduce technical debt and go into a new architecture direction. And microservices at that time were something like a buzzword or a new trend or hype. Now, about 3 or 4 years later, we came to a state where microservices and self-contained systems are somehow the way to go, I would say. Yeah, at least in all bigger companies, tech teams try to go into a direction where they separate their systems into smaller ones. But if you take a closer look then, you still find that there are a lot of open topics left. For example, when it comes to communication and dependencies between systems, there's still discussion if you go into APIs or events, and if you then say, okay, I need events, then new topics come up, like if it's enough to use RabbitMQ, or do I need Kafka or Kinesis or some other things? Do I even need event sourcing, CQRS? Is this only cool, or do I really need it? And but not only about communication between systems, also about data. There's new challenges like when you have distributed data over a lot of systems, what do you do? Like, how do you keep them consistent? Or what do you do if one system fails and has a loss of data? How can you recover from that? Or even worse, when you have a system that publishes data which is invalid, wrong, and it gets distributed through your architecture, how can you recover from such a situation? But all these challenges are not only limited to back-end systems, it's also affecting the front end. When in a world of microservices or self-contained systems or all these smaller systems, a single web page might easily consist of about 10, 15, 20 microservices who all bring a small part of the user experience of the overall picture. And how can you achieve that all this is consistent, that the UX feels good, and that all this is a good user experience in the end? Some of these questions, or most of them, and even more, will be answered in the architecture track. We have a lot of speakers there from big companies like IBM, eBay, Hermes, Bräuninger, and so on. And I hope you enjoy that.
Thanks. Okay, so Ralph, can you make it really short? Sorry.
Moin. 3 things. First, don't mind the DevOps guy. Don't go there, because you have to go to the backend talk. Without the backend team, the DevOps would be bored all day. Second, we have a wide range of programming language and topics. We cover PHP, we cover Java, we cover Kotlin, Go, Node.js, stuff like that. We cover top subjects like event sourcing, like migration, and reactive programming, and really cool things. And the most important number 3 is, please come to the backend panel tomorrow at I think 2 o'clock. And there we will try to figure out which backend language will be the best. There can be only one. Thanks.
That panel will actually be really cool. Okay, so we have 3 minutes. So I have 3 tracks to cover. First is the micro hackathon. Just shortly, there will be a micro hackathon tomorrow at 11 and at 12 o'clock from Max, who is one of our curators, on how to build an AngularJS app from 0 to 100, and I think it's really nice to go out of here and actually took something out of here as a product, because you actually coded something. So yeah, just go there. He will, if you have a laptop and you need Docker installed, everything else will be provided by Max. Then we have the IoT track, and just a short notice on that, we have 3 really cool talks. One by Markus Tucker about prototyping stuff for the Internet of Things using JavaScript, and I think that's going to be really cool. Then we have one tomorrow here in this cinema by German Viscuso, who is from Amazon, and he will talk about advanced Alexa skill building, and it's an really advanced or expert talk about conversation and memory. And then tomorrow also we have one estimated arrival in 30 minutes from Jan Rien, who is from DB, from the DB AG, and he will talk about how they develop their IoT systems. Then there is tech entrepreneurs, and I finished with that because that's the next thing that comes after this one. So right after this talk is over, there will be a panel discussion with Sebastian Betz, Stefan Richter, and Philipp Karlweit about the insights of being a tech entrepreneur. So I think that's going to be really interesting. And I'm going to moderate that. So if you ever wanted to know what you should do before, or what you should consider before founding a company, definitely stay here. And 2 more things before you go. So there's a spin-off of the Code Talks. It's in Berlin, and it's taking place for the 4th time now, and it's going to happen next year, and on the 4th and the 5th of April. And it's a really cool cinema, not as cool as this one, but it looks cooler from the outside, but it's smaller. And I think that's it. Tarek, did you want to finish? Oh, one more thing. The Augur team consists of one more person, and that's Melanie, and she was a really big help, and I want to thank her.
So, thanks, Martin. Have fun. This conference is about broadening your horizon, so you just saw the tracks. We encourage you to not just go to topics where you're actually working on. So if you're a PHP developer, for example, go to Alexa, go to IoT or something. So this conference is about broadening your horizon. We hope we can fulfill that. And have a nice 2 days. Bye-bye.